I think y'all can do a lot better than that. Come on now. Come on now. All right, there you go. And as much as you wanted to hear me talk about storytelling and themes, other people are going to do that. And we didn't get a motion in limine on this, so I'm going to change the topic to how to be a baller and make money in your cases for your client. Anybody want to hear about that? Come on. So there's three things as I'm talking that keep coming up when people ask me, how do you be a baller? How do you make money? How do you get cases? And I'm going to share three very important things with you. The first is controlling the chatter in your mind and learning how to focus. The second is how insurance companies think means everything. And remember this, leopards do not change their spots. And third, I'm going to show y'all some techniques on how to network here at this convention that will turn into cases and turn into a networking that will definitely benefit your practice. Y'all want to hear about that? Yeah. All right, come on. Well, first thing is, I want you to trust me for just a minute. Trust me. Do what I say. And for 10 seconds, I want you to introduce yourself to the person on the left and on the right, but here's the kicker. They are the most boring person you've ever met. They cannot help you in your cases, and you dread talking to them. So for 10 seconds, with that parameter, please introduce yourself. All right? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. By the way, you just networked. Now, I want you to introduce yourself to the person on your left and on your right, but with this parameter. They are the most beautiful, handsome person you've ever wanted to meet that will help you in your practice. 10 seconds, go. Whoa. Hey, in both instances, I asked you to do the same thing. Introduce yourself to the right and to the left. But did you notice the energy change in number 2? And the only reason was I turned negative to positive. I learned how to think positively. I learned that if what I focus on over and over is positive, positive things happen. So the first thing I want to talk about, and it applies to trial, but it applies to life, it applies to everything, is how to control the chatter in your head. So let me ask, has anybody not been awake at night and you can't turn your mind off? Right? Or you're worried about something and you're trying to concentrate, but all that crap comes in, right? First tool, if that was a third party standing next to your bed telling you all that stuff while you're trying to sleep, what would you do? You'd say, shut the hell up. But it's our internal chatter. And if there's nothing else that I have learned about stressing while you're in trial, about what am I going to do, you're so stressed out, is that control of focus. And a lot of this stuff's on my social media, but I want to just give you a tip. And if anybody wants more information, God, I'd love to give it to you. Your ability to focus and to acknowledge thoughts and push them aside is a learned skill. It is not a talent. It's not your personality. It is not. It is a learned skill that your brain is a muscle just like every other muscle in your body. And so if you do focus practice like Gina and I do every day, just for 5 minutes and focus on something and all those thoughts come in and you acknowledge and you push away and you acknowledge. And maybe the first time you do it, 99% of the time you're thinking about other stuff, right? But I guarantee you that one of the biggest things that has helped me when you go, how are you cool at trial? Right? How are you such a great speaker? Come on now. How do you control the anxiety? It's because I have a muscle now that is developed that I can say, okay, I'm focused on this and I will deal with the other stuff later. And in trial, that is critical, because trials are a war in which you will win and lose battles, evidence, etc. And if you're thinking about something that's already happened and taking your focus off the next thing, you're not doing a good job for your client. All right? And if anybody wants to know about that, I'm happy to tell you that. The second very important thing is, let's talk about how insurance companies think. We as plaintiffs' lawyers want money for our clients. Insurance companies have money. Insurance companies will not release money without information. We have information. So if you think that this is a collaborative process with the adjuster and the defense lawyer, and you understand that that adjuster and that defense lawyer, and I just saw Juan Delgado, dude, we just settled a case. We're about to try a case like in 5 days. We just settled. What does he need? He needs information when he goes to his boss, supervisor, etc., to go get money. And what is that supervisor going to ask? They're going to ask, you have all the medical records? You have all the medical bills, the Howell bills? Is there Prop 213? Any pre-existing injuries? Do you have all those records? What does the property damage look like? What does the plaintiff look like? Are they tall? Are they overweight? Are they pretty? Do they make a good impression? Have you taken a depo? Do you have a DME? How can that person look good to their boss if they haven't had all those boxes checked? So I have found that understanding that they need that and providing it to the other side in a digestible way means more money for me, for my clients. Any of y'all answer form rogs before you file suit? I do, and send them to the defense. Mike, you know you sent me form rog responses and we haven't even filed suit. I'm like, were they helpful? He goes, yeah. I said, exactly. But here's the kicker. Here is the silver lining halo effect. You ever heard the expression, leopards don't change their spots? Right? You're going on a blind date. First date, and the guy shows up late, disheveled, sweaty, crazy. Now, he may have had a good excuse. He was helping Grandma Girdle across the street, whatever. But 99 times out of 100, it's probably not the reason. And you know already, well, probably unreliable, et cetera, because we know leopards that show up late, that are sweaty, that are disheveled, are usually leopards that also do other bad stuff. The greatest determiner of the type of leopard you are insurance companies. They see what we do thousands of times every day. And they know what kind of leopard you as the lawyer will be. And they know that a leopard lawyer that does certain things at the front is likely to be the type of leopard at the back. And it works both ways. So if you ask pre-lit, tell me what your coverage is, and they go, no. If they say, well, it's a rear-end accident, but I think your client, the plaintiff, is 20% at fault because they stopped quickly and you don't file suit right away, they know statistically that that means this lawyer won't try cases, won't spend money, won't push the case, won't file objections, won't fight objections, won't take depositions. If you wait until the day before the statute and you've had the case for a year and a half and then you file to protect the statute, you are telegraphing what kind of leopard you are. Mike, how do you get all this money up front? Because they know what kind of leopard I am. But how do they know that? Well, shit, I know what they need. I've given it to them. I've given it to them before they realized they needed it. He's a lawyer who knows what they need. He's taking depots. He's fighting motions to compel. He's not accepting BS objections. That leopard tries cases, spends money, is a good trial lawyer, and then they pay you money. So the silver lining of understanding that this is a collaborative effort in an adversarial system is while you're giving the information and how you give it to them in terms of timing says everything to the other side. Do you know, I hear that when, so my managing attorney, Craig Hartsecker, used to be at Farmers, came over and he goes, you know, we talked about the Alder bump. the Dordic bump, the Panish bump. Because we knew you guys, we knew what kind of leopard you were. Wouldn't it be great to have a bump? That's because they figured out what it is. And this is not, solo to me. Any one of you can do this. Right? So that's how insurance companies think. Make sense? So now when you go back to your practice and you think about, okay, what are they going to need? Do they have what the plaintiff looks like, video, photos, et cetera? Do they have all the property damage, the property photos, the medical bills? Don't say, well, it's a shoulder injury, so the ankle records aren't relevant, I'm not giving it to you, or I'm going to cut it off at 10 years. Do you think when they go get you $1 million and the supervisor says, do you have all the records? And they go, well, the plaintiff's lawyer said those aren't relevant. It doesn't fly. Why even do that? They know that people that object on relevancy on stuff that is discoverable are the same type of leopard that doesn't try cases, doesn't spend money on cases, aren't the big money cases. Everybody get that? All right, this is kind of a how-to. And the third topic is all of y'all are here, and I assume that you want to do a couple of things. You want to meet people, you want to party, and you want to learn something, right? Let me talk about meeting people and networking. While you're here, understand that this is the beginning of a network and a relationship with anybody that you meet, that if you can touch that relationship over time, and during that period of time, that person has a case to refer you or needs help, and you're the one in mind, they will refer it to you. So I've done primarily a referral-based business all the time. So let me tell you what I'm going to do here and what I'd recommend that everybody do. So if I meet somebody, I'll take a photo of their tag, right? Or I'll send them a text and say, text me back. Now, next week when I get back, I'm going to write everybody that I met a personal note. So now I touched them here and I touched them with a personal note. If I get their information, then I'm going to follow up and ask them to follow me on social media. More touches. Then I'm going to send them an email newsletter. More touches. Then they take depots from me. More touches. Then they get my trial lawyer's Bible. More touches. Now, during any of that time, if they have a case to refer, they're much more likely to refer it to me. Even though there's a ton of lawyers that do just as good a job as I do. Right? Does that make sense? So as you guys are here, understand that every relationship is a possibility. And if you can keep track of that over time and touch that relationship, it will be extremely helpful to you. But I know what y'all are thinking. Well, that's uncomfortable. How do I just walk up to people? Hey, how you doing? Rodney, good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, man, do we know each other? Hey, God, that's so uncomfortable. If you all want to be a success, you have to understand this thing and this thing only. Everything you want is outside your comfort zone. Everything that you want is harder than you want it to be. And what a blessing it is that it's hard. Because if it wasn't hard, the competition would be brutal. But that's a mindset. That's a positive. I don't have to network with you. I get to network with you. I don't have to contact you. I get to. I don't try. I do. That change of mindset, that ability to focus, that understanding how insurance companies think and proactively deal with it will make all the difference in your practice. It is the secret to success. It is what I have learned over 30 years. And so as I end, I want to say a couple of other things. All of this stuff, if you want to know more about it, is on my social media. YouTube, Instagram, a little bit of TikTok. But you weren't expecting to hear this. You were expecting to hear storytelling and themes. And I have been in CAALA for almost 30 years, and I always say, why don't we have a panel on how to run a practice, how to get cases, how to network, and how to think, how to have life skills. We haven't had one yet, so I just did it because there's no motion in limine on it. Last couple things. About 14 years ago, I realized that one of the biggest impediments that most lawyers come to me and talk about of getting to trial is they run out of money. And so about 12, 13 years ago, I started something called the Warrior Fund. And it is still in play. And our firm will fund half of your costs for newer, younger lawyers, up to $10,000. And if you try the case and you win and you can pay us back, pay us back. And if you try and you lose, we eat it. No questions asked. 12 years, about 50 people have taken me up on it. Because you're like, what's the catch? No catch. There are people at this convention that legitimately want to help you. I am one of them, but there are many of us. Take me up on the Warrior Fund, please. Lastly, tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., we're meeting at the gym, and we're all working out together. And God, we're in Vegas. It's really uncomfortable to wake up. God, I don't want to do it. But everything you want is what? Outside your comfort zone. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Come on now, let's go.
That guy's great. Just phenomenal. But you know what he didn't tell you? The gym doesn't open until 6. The positive energy you just saw is a positive energy that Mike Alder brings to trial. He's had 2 trials in my courtroom. The second one, he just finished, I want to say in San Luis Obispo, Ventura, and he got a great verdict in like 3 days. And he comes and he tries $1 million lawsuit in 2.5 days. And he was so exhausted, but he still brought the positive energy. And that positive energy is the positive energy he keeps putting in front of the jury. Positive, positive, positive. And guess what? They start believing him. So great job.
It's on. That's a tough act to follow, mate. I'm just here to respond from the defense on storytelling, framing, and theme building. And you spoke about methods, so methods don't change my spots. But what I will say is I'm from Africa. I was born and raised and educated in Africa. That metaphor, I guess, or idiom, a leopard doesn't change its spots, is one of my favorite all-time sayings. It's rare to hear an American say it. And I would endorse everything he said about that. And it's true for both the plaintiff and the defense side. So what Mike said, and I'm a defense lawyer, I've been doing insurance defense for almost 30 years, since 1991. Everything Mike said about, a leopard not changing its spots and how that is conveyed to an insurance company and what kind of leopard you are, that's all true. Because the insurance companies are you a Mike Alder? He puts in the work, does all the due diligence, puts in the time, effort, and money, and has a perfect, comprehensive, thorough pre-litigation demand ready to go, maybe with a day-in-the-life video, and that's got their attention, and they're going to pay the big money on that. Versus the lawyer, like Mike said, is going to wait for the last minute, wait for the statute's about to run. They're not going to be taken seriously. And I would suggest the same is true from the defense, because defense lawyers don't change their spots either. And what we do as a defense lawyer, our integrity, our honesty, our reputation, our civility, that's important to us with you guys. And frankly, that's why in my firm and my partner Keith Bremer, who's here, we really put ourselves out there to be honest, to be ethical, to do the right thing, and put our money where our mouth is. And sometimes the cases have to be tried. But our goal as a good defense lawyer, who's also putting in the work, who's evaluating these cases, you know, when we get that package, that pre-litigation demand, and our carrier is looking to us to evaluate it, we're doing that thoroughly, and we're doing that properly. And you know, if it's a case that needs to be paid, and they have to pay big, maybe we're giving them those recommendations. By the same token, you know, sometimes it's just too much, right? And sometimes we do have to end up in trial. And so just to kind of briefly talk to that, and on some of the talking points I did have about theme, you know, I think it's difficult, and I'm going to segue, because I do want to say this. I think in many respects, you know, I have so much admiration for many of those of you in this room, you know, with my sort of high verdicts. And, you know, but you have good cases when you get those verdicts. And often it's difficult as a defense lawyer, you're coming into trial, and I've been in this seat many times. I might come in, I'm brought in on the eve of trial, or maybe we've had the case for longer. But it's a difficult case. It's a case, you know, where it is huge damages, or, you know, the defendant did something terrible, but it still needs to be defended. Or maybe you're admitting liability and just the damages are too high, and you've got to come and sit in that chair, and we've got a job to do as well, and it's difficult, and I've been in the worst of the worst positions. But again, I think it comes back to that leopard, right, and having integrity and doing the right thing. And so sometimes as the defense lawyer, you're coming to trial and you're saying, yes, we're responsible, and your theme is just fairness and reasonableness. We're liable, we admit to causation, but this damages number needs to be fair and reasonable, and then getting that across to the jury. And I think that starts on day one, because often as defense counsel, we're contacted at the day of the incident, right? You know, what they call rapid response protocol, where we're getting on scene on the day of the incident, especially in the very bad catastrophic cases. Maybe it's wrongful death, or, you know, paraplegic, quadriplegic case. So we get out there, we get our team of experts, you know, we're evaluating, and the carrier's looking to us as to what to do. And there's a lot, I think that integrity, what kind of method we are, starts right there, where we can see this is going to be a bad case, it's going to be, the viability is there. That starts with right away getting out there and saying, I'm sorry, and saying we're responsible, and getting a company representative at the bedside, or, you know, in front of the heirs, saying we're sorry. And then from there, we'll often get involved in trying to get the case resolved pre-litigation. We're doing mock trials, we'll be talking about that in a little bit. But I just settled a wrongful death case up in Chico County with 3 heirs, and we settled it before litigation. We did a mock trial, and, you know, we were able to evaluate it and get it done. So to your point, Mike, a leopard doesn't change its spots, and I think everyone needs to decide what kind of method they're going to be. And I guess, and I would say maybe a leopard can change its spots, because maybe you're a lazy lawyer, but you can become, you know, a more hard-working lawyer when you realize, to your point, putting in the money, putting in the time, that's, you know, where you can make your big case. So thank you.